What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. League of Legends is coming close to hitting its 10-year anniversary actually, so today I wanted to take a look back and maybe take a look at some fun little throwbacks that you would probably only know if you played during the beta of the game. I did play during the beta for about 2 weeks or so and a little bit more. The game was in closed beta from April 2009 to October 21st of the same year, and then it had 1 week of open beta before the game launched. So today we're taking a look at some fun things, kind of just like a fun little nostalgia trip at stuff that probably only beta players will remember. So to start us off, we're taking a look at the minions. Now minions didn't always look like the hooded kind of wizardly minions we know them as. In fact, in the beta of the game, the blue side minions looked very similar to the Warcraft 3 footmen that the game was kind of based off of, being completely covered in armor and colored differently. They're arranged significantly more in the Dota, that's the original Dota, style of minions, where there is only one ranged creep per wave. The cannon minion was also this big siege rider guy on a horse instead of a guy riding a giant cannon, but kind of served a similar purpose. The purple side minions were actually red skeletons, further showing off the good versus evil kind of feel that Dota had going. I think it's pretty good that they kind of went with their own minion aesthetic, as really in the beta the game actually took a lot of graphic inspiration from the original Defense of the Ancients from Warcraft 3, and that kind of inspiration isn't really present in the game today, which is, I have to say, quite nice, because back at the time it kind of just felt like the upgraded Dota ripoff, and it's nice to have seen League evolve into its own original creation. Another thing, if you played back in beta, that you might remember is the user interface. The character portrait, abilities, summoner spells, and items were all on this crazy huge disc in the lower left of the screen. Man, this is just such a throwback. When you gained a level, these huge +1s would pop out of the disc, covering up even more of the screen than it already did. The health and mana bar ran like half the screen across, with ability power, attack damage, movement speed, and armor in comparatively tiny spots above them. If you were targeting anything, the target's health bar would actually also take up a pretty significant section of the top part of the screen. I mean, man, in this design, the UI just seemed to have covered so much of the game. It's actually very similar to the UI in Warcraft 3. If you've ever played Warcraft 3, the UI in that game really covers quite a lot. So a lot of these old throwbacks from League kind of just show like how heavily League of Legends was inspired by Defense of the Ancients from back in the day. And actually, magic resistance and creep score was completely absent on this user interface as well. Hope you didn't need to know those numbers at a glance. Surprisingly, the map section actually looks about the same as the base UI that the game had for several years. It's a pretty good thing, I gotta say, that they decided to rework this UI, because, let's be honest, this isn't exactly the most appealing user interface, but it's definitely a pretty big throwback if you happen to play the game during that time. Now, one of the new features to League of Legends that was not a carryover from the original Defense of the Ancients from Warcraft 3 were the bushes that concealed your champion from any outside vision. So naturally, during the beta, they wanted to just really push hard on the aspects that were not in Warcraft 3, and so the bushes were kind of just everywhere. There were bushes practically surrounding the entire jungle camps, there were extra bushes all around mid lane, bushes directly in front of Dragon and Baron, and it led to quite a few funny kind of unintended strats, like Dr. Mundo sitting in the Baron bush and throwing cleavers at the poor unaware Baron until he died without actually taking any damage back, because Baron, well, couldn't see Dr. Mundo. It would have been pretty scary to go to Dragon and randomly just have a whole team pop out of a bush right in front of the spawn, so it's definitely easy to see why Riot did some major landscaping, and honestly, there were just way too many bushes. Another thing that some of you old school players might remember was the mastery tree. Every level you got on your account would give you a mastery point that you could put into this tree to improve your champion stats in the game. Now, the original masteries weren't really all that interesting. All of them just kind of gave some really small minor improvements to stats or summoner abilities. There also weren't mastery pages. You kind of just got one page and you had to reset your mastery page every time you played a different champion. That was a fun experience for sure. And kind of close to the masteries, on another note, our next throwback that we wanted to take a look at is the summoner spell, Fortify. Now this is something that was still in the game for quite some time after beta, so probably some of just you Season 1 players will definitely remember this one too, but this summoner spell made all the towers on your team invulnerable and doubled their attack speed for a few seconds. This is actually the exact same concept as the Glyph of Fortification in Dota, except your whole team could take Fortify, making it extremely annoying for the enemy team to try and take down towers. Surprisingly, the summoner spell wasn't really used all that much except for some odd ends and troll builds and kind of cheese strategies, but it's definitely something that was really iconic because it was a summoner spell that was used basically by everyone who was like a new player, because it was a really cool and fun spell to use as like a noob. And it also slightly increased the damage you did to minions when the ability was not on cooldown, so it made last hitting way easier, especially if you were a new player. It was actually in the game until November 15th, 2011, which is Season 1, but I definitely thought it was iconic enough from the early days of League of Legends to include in today's video. Another thing you might remember from long ago is that League of Legends actually had a physical copy release, and I gotta say, it had some pretty sweet box art. I mean, let's just take a look at this, some of the things on this box. Level your champion from weak to powerful and make RPG-style advancement decisions, from empowering your abilities to equipping items in fast-paced battle scenarios. Select one of 40 unique champions, each with special abilities and innovative gameplay mechanics. League of Legends blows Dota out of the water. Yeah, I mean, this is like primo stuff right here. Like, this is just crazy. Oh my god, this is awesome. I think it was like $30 or so, maybe $40 at places like Best Buy, Target, GameStop. It included the Silver Kale skin, 20 champions, 4 runes or equipment upgrades as they called them on the box art, and it also included an RP card and a collector's map, which showed the map of Runeterra on one side and various champions and some of their original lore on the other. It also had the original pink hair Sivir model too. Oh my god, this is just crazy. Wow, this takes me back, I gotta say. The game manual also had a selection dedicated to explaining some of the lingo used in the game, like ganks, nerfs, OP. Those kind of explanations are pretty rare these days, but to new players just picking up the game for the first time back in the day, maybe it was pretty useful. And also way back in the day, I mean, man, just the marketing for this game was so crazy looking back at it. I remember when I first played League of Legends and I saw this trailer, it was like the coolest thing ever. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, these trailers were just so insane. You know, there's this one that played these like crazy heavy metal tunes as they showcased some of the champions. I think there were trailers for Alistar, Ryze, Fiddlesticks, and they're kind of just shown destroying everything in their path, just dominating the game. There's so many old things in the trailer that's just like, they've got the old minions to like the fear effect being a skull. It's like such a classic throwback. And of course there was also teaser cinematics showing off Annie, Master Yi, and Nunu, and man, get a load of that Nunu's face. The ending shot pans back, reveals all the champions of the game, and you can even see that pink hair Sivir once again, you know. I remember back in the day these trailers got everyone hyped for the game, but now it's just like, wow, this is crazy that these even exist. They're like, they totally just don't hold up today, but at the same time it's kind of a remnant to like what gaming used to be like 10 years ago. But actually, probably one of the biggest things you might remember if you were a beta player is that League of Legends, when it was released, was not actually the popular game. It was kind of like the super unpopular, like crappy MOBA that like the poor kids played. In May 2010, Heroes of Newerth launched and actually started dominating the scene as kind of the first next-gen MOBA upgrade from the original Dota of Warcraft 3. It was kind of considered as like the true Dota follow-up at the time, and it actually took all the way until late Season 1, right around Worlds or so, for League of Legends to catch up to Heroes of Newerth finally, and then it eventually surpassed it in Season 2 for a variety of reasons. League of Legends had some massive marketing, it was free to play. Heroes of Newerth actually cost $30. Although League of Legends sold box sets, you could still play it for free, while Heroes of Newerth had a mandatory purchase fee of $30, and it didn't have anywhere near the same marketing and development. Heroes of Newerth was also just not as beginner friendly, I think. It was kind of considered to be more advanced in terms of like mechanics, and eventually the announcement of Dota 2 became kind of the nail in the coffin for Heroes of Newerth, even though it is still actually playable to this day. I gotta say though, with all things considered, League of Legends has had a pretty interesting past, and there's quite a few little gems and things here and there that are super fun to pull up. Some stuff that, you know, newer players probably just don't know about, but if you did know about them, like, wow, that's such a throwback. It's really crazy to see stuff like that and just kind of reminisce on the past. Either way, that's actually just about going to wrap it up for today's video. Hope you enjoyed this look at things. You know, we'll probably look at some more other crazy gems of stuff from the past, you know, blasts from the past It's always a fun stuff to look at, especially for you older players out there. And the newer players, I feel like, still kind of enjoy these videos too, because they get to learn about stuff that maybe they didn't know about before. So I have a lot of fun making these kinds of videos. I'll probably make another episode of this kind of topic in the future. We'll have to see how it goes. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.